Hello and welcome. So something I'm planning is to have the non-PVM stuff in the first half of the episode, so that I can end the episode with like PVM stuff where maybe I get a rare drop, and then I could just end it there on a high note. So the non-PVM stuff would be like skilling for my comp game, or quest, diaries, that kind of stuff that I need either help me do PVM or unlock better monsters to kill, like while Guthix sleeps for TDs and ROTM for Glade Cores. So this is something I want your opinion on. I'd love to hear it. So please tell me in the comment section below. And so another week has passed. So I've gone back to the Citadel to skill. Currently, the best skilling plot for me is smithing. But on higher tier, there is a summoning plot where you could get. I'm assuming you get summoning XP from it. Although I'm not sure if it would be great XP. I've also used my weekly clan cloak XP as always. I got my clan ring for smithing as well. I plan to actually get 99 smithing by just using gold bars. It's a slow method, but it's pretty cheap. It's nice. I don't have to worry about like having to spend hours making that money back if I want like an expensive route. And with goldsmithing gauntlets and the clan avatar boost, it's not it's a pretty cheap smithing method. I'm still doing daily Borg charms. If you do these daily, don't forget to wear your Ring of Wealth for bonus charms. As well as if you completed the Varrock Elite Diary, you also get even more charms from it. And it stacks with the Ring of Wealth. So I'll pretty much be doing this every day. Because I'm going for 99 something eventually, so I'll need as much charms as I can. And I probably won't get 99 something before double XP weekend is finished. I did do a bit of rune spam, but I'm kind of saving the skill for the last skill I get to 99, or maybe one of the last, because runespan is pretty nice on AFK. It's not click intensive like Hunter is. I also bought 26 Ring of Wealth to teleport to either Kingdom of Miscellanea as well as Grand Exchange. And like the Grand Exchange is just in case if I'm like on the Lunar Spellbook and need to get to the GE. But like I still haven't bought any Varrock tablets or anything because the Ring of Wealth just brings me there and I could just recharge it for free. But a thing I haven't shown you in quite a while is my loot tab. This is a tab of common items I get from monsters that I kill. On the top are like my daily stuff that I buy from shops. I just accumulate it and then just sell it in bulk when I remember. Because if I were to just sell it every day, I wouldn't be able to use all my Grand Exchange slots. Because I do buy other stuff here and there. So a couple episodes ago, I did actually have 100 mil bank. So with the extra money I had, I went and bought Dragon Claws. And this is going to make killing Bork a whole lot quicker. Although in some cases I might still use a Dragon Dagger just because Dragon Dagger is better than Claws on low defense. But if they have high defense, you're probably better off using Claws because it's a whole lot more accurate. So I've been still doing my daily challenges. It's a really good way to get XP. Especially since you're able to toggle which skills you want. So you can either have like, for example, you can have so that you only get the engineering challenges. So if you do that, that's an easy way to get to whatever engineering level you need. Although it only gives you XP and what you actually need is tokens. So you still actually have to do it, but it's a good way for early levels where it's mostly XP that you get rather than tokens. Now, when I did these challenges like Herb Lore and Prayer, the ones I did, it was pretty bad, but then they actually boosted the XP you get from these in a recent update for summoning, construction, herb lore, and prayer. So hopefully it's as good as the engineering, because that would be perfect. Then I got some challenges that are pretty much not worth doing. I had to thieve 70 elves, and the fail rate was so high that even with the bonus XP from the challenge, I averaged under 50k XP per hour. It took a whole hour to pickpocket 70 elves successfully. And Pyramid Plunder is like 200k XP per hour, so it's probably not worth doing these thieving challenges. Especially with the dwarf. Well, I haven't tried the dwarven one, but I also hear it's bad, where you thieve the dwarves in Keldagrim, the dwarf city, that place. So last episode, I said I was going for while Guthix sleeps because of the 400k XP lamp reward, as well as being unlocking the ability to kill TDs. So as a prerequisite for the quest, I needed some goat weed for a prerequisite for that quest, which was Dream Mentor. And for some reason, I got multiple of these. I'm not sure entirely why, but it made sense at the time. Later, I helped a moody bot stomp his inner demons in a literal manner. Varrock was invaded by zombies. not entirely odd. And for the last requirement to be able to do while Guthix sleeps, I got 65 farming at Livid Farm. And I actually plan to level my early levels here because by the time I finish Livid Farm early, I could start doing like magic trees, palm trees, depending on which route I take for farming, maybe the cheap route or expensive route. But there's also some money making methods from there. You could like plant more shell mushrooms at 74 farming. You actually make a decent amount of money from doing that. Oh, I also got 66 farming without noticing. It was when I wasn't recording. I didn't know I was this close to a level. But the reason I'm in safe mode is just because there's this graphical thing that happens. I think it's only on max, whereas PCs, if you enter a certain area, it'll zoom in. But on max, it flickers and it's really annoying. So I just stick to safe mode. And for the first time in the series, I'm kind of going back to Kingdom of Miscellanea. A while ago, I placed 7.5 mil into the Kingdom. I don't think I actually mentioned it in a video, but it was sometime just after, I don't even know when it was. So this will be the first time I actually get it out. The only reason I remember was because of double XP weekend coming up. And the stuff you get from the Kingdom is the bulk of what you make is pretty much the nest that you get, the bird's nest, which you get seeds, you get but most of all you get the bird's nest that you could crunch down and sell it. So with double XP coming up, I thought I would just grab it all out, sell it in the grand exchange. Although I probably could have had more, but I rarely actually go to the kingdom before. Well, this was before I bought the Ring of Wells. Before I had the Ring of Wells, I would never come here because the only way for me to get here would be teleport to Relica, go through the boat, run to the island, and that's a far run. So, although now that I do have the Ring of Wolves, I'll be keeping my approval rating up more often. And the last quest of this episode is While Guthix Sleeps. Now, there's some spoilers for what happens, so if you rather save the storyline to experience yourself, feel free to click the annotation on screen to skip past this part. Now, there's some pretty cool cinematics, but before they actually started like remaking and deleting the old novice quest and adding in new ones, the better cinematics were actually saved for the Grand Master quest, or you would only see it there. Although there's maybe a few out there, but mostly it was for the Grand Master quest. Anyhow, so later I got past the herblore part of the quest, and quite honestly, stupidly enough, when making the druid pouches, it like the free mushroom you get from it that you need to use on a certain statue, it actually got put into the pouch. So I had to go rebank, go to GE, buy another mushroom, run all the way back down the 5-second long chasm, run all the way up through the giant face in the wall, and come back to place it on the pedestal or whatever it was. And this is the third time actually that this happened to me. Like, for those of you who don't know, I actually have a third account. And it's just, I rarely use it because the last time I used it was back when I actually PK'd. So if you actually knew me back then, you may know the Runescape name of that account. But I've pretty much since stopped using it. So when I went to fight the boss, like for the boss fight, you get to fight 2 TDs and you actually get loot from them. So I guess there's a possible, like, when I killed the 2 TDs, it showed up on my A-log that I killed 2. So I guess it's possible to actually get Dragon Claws before you even finish the quest. So the first time I went to kill the TDs on this account, I actually forgot to bring a secondary attack style. I only brought melee. And the prayer is 100% effective, so I kind of tell it straight out, because if they're praying melee and I only have melee on me, I'm not going to be able to do any damage at all. And I made the same mistake on when I first did TDs on Smokey. It was after I finished the quest. I went to kill my first TDs. I had like a full tortoise brews, inventory of restores and brews, and I had like Barrow's gear back then. And I went to kill TDs. I used up my entire tortoise of brews, and I only got like the TDs down to like, it was red barred. For some reason I didn't bring enough bolts, so I only had melee left. So I stood there a good 5 minutes not realizing that I'm not able to hit through their prayer, because back then I didn't actually know much about PVM. So I was just thinking like maybe their prayer is like Calfight Queen, where the prayer is only like 40% effective and you're able to hit through it. So I stood there for a good 5 minutes trying to hit through the melee prayer until I ran out of supplies and had to bank. So by now I actually finished the TD's boss fight, but the first time I did this on my Smoky account, like on my main account, that was I did like a 4-minute fight for the TDs, whereas now this was like a 30-second fight. Although I think the only difference was that I used a DDS for spec, and I really got some nice hits with that. After beating the boss fight, I got sent back to Falador, and from there I finished the quest. I talked to the people there. They gave me 400k XP and whatever skill I wanted. Above, I think it was like there's a level 65 requirement to be in that level. So I used it on summoning, of course, because I'm pretty close to a unicorn right now. This got me to 85. Unicorn is at 88. So at 85, it unlocks Swamp Titans, which I can make up to level 92 using my Crimson Charms. And after Wall Pretenders, I can make Packaxe at 96. So also another reward from the quest is I got a Dragon Plate Body piece. It's it's like a lump shard. I forgot what the third one was, but I got one of those, and I'll most likely hold on to this so that I plan to do TDs. So I'll probably get some pieces, and eventually I'll be able to make my own first D plate. So I had a few charms left over, so I used some of it to get 86 summoning since I was pretty close from 85 to 86 after the quest. And I pretty much have no charms left in my bank. And at the time I did this, they did announce double XP weekend, but they didn't actually say it was going to be double summoning XP. So until the next episode, I'll be working on collecting charms for double XP. So I'm pretty close enough already to not a packet, to a unicorn. So I'm pretty sure by the next episode I should have it. But I'm kind of aiming for a packet because the more time I spend collecting charms, that saves an hour of charm collecting later on. So now that I finished while Guthix sleeps, I can now go do Tormented Demons. But before I actually do this, I wanted to go do Nomad Requiem because by completing the quest, I get like, there's the Soul Escape and then there's the Nills you get from it. So the Soul Escape is what I'm really aiming for because it has a pretty good prayer bonus on it. It gives like plus 12 prayer bonus, and it really makes prayer last a whole lot longer. So during the quest, I had to fight the decaying avatar, and I swear it doesn't make sense. Like, he's supposed to be a boss, but if you just pray melee, he pretty much cannot do any damage to you. Usually when I fight this boss, no matter how quickly I click on the vine, he will always get it before me. But it's probably just because the world I'm usually on usually has a pretty bad ping on it. So for the boss fight, I used Ganodermic, and the first time around when I fought this boss on Smoky, I actually had to use a full Tortoise of Bruise, and back then even that was costly. And for some reason, now you have Ganodermic, which is clearly overpowered, because you could beat the boss with just, well, I beat the boss in just Ganodermic, Terrorbird of Sharks, and that's pretty much it. Well, I had a Rapier too, and by the end of the boss fight, it kind of cut it pretty close. We were both, I ran out of food, and he was pretty much red barred. Although, if it came down to it, I probably would have just ended up flinching him to finish it, but it was kind of close. So, upon completing the quest, there wasn't really any rewards to it, like XP rewards, except for maybe the 70 Zeals. Now, I'm currently debating what I should use the Zeals for. I could either use it for Prayer XP, which gives me 210k Prayer XP, or I could save it up for a Pet Jad. But a Pet Jad is cosmetic, whereas a Prayer XP saves me some money in the short term. But the Jad is, if I were to get it, it would save me time in the long term. So I'm just gonna keep the Zeals there for now. I'm not gonna touch it because I don't have to make the decision now. But then again, a Jad is only cosmetic. Now, a few weeks ago, they did the Festival of the Dead, and only thing I can really say about this is the free 251k bonus per XP you get from it, which is why I did While Guthix Sleeps, because a large portion of that 251k comes from that one quest. But since then, it's been removed from the game, but the bonus per XP does stay, so that's gonna save a bit of cash. Like, maybe 1k D-bones? So I tried doing some TDs till I realized that a Dragon Defender would be very beneficial. So I went to get some tokens. Now, I still thought that Dragon Defenders took forever to get, like at least 5 hours to get up to a Dragon Defender. So I went to get plenty of tokens long enough for at least 5 or 10 hours inside the Cyclops room, so that I could pay with multiple tokens for the better Defender drop rate. So somehow, I guess I overestimated it. I went from Bronze to Dragon in just a bit over 60 minutes inside. So I clearly overestimated it. Also, since I never planned to PK with a Dragon Defender because getting a new one is such a pain, at one point on my main, I stacked up to 28 Dragon Defenders willing to go PKing with it, and I pretty much lost it by all of these by the end of the week. Well, this was back when I used to PK like several hours a day. So I won't be getting a spare for quite a while. I'll eventually get a second Dragon Defender so that I can throw my Rune Defender away. But for the moment, I'm just gonna stick with my Dragon Defender. Also, another reason I didn't get a Dragon Defender from like the start of the series was because in the evolution of combat, I wasn't entirely sure what they're gonna do. Cause I'm pretty sure it's better to have an actual offhand weapon rather than a Dragon Defender. So yeah, that's pretty much why I didn't get it from the start. But I'm still surprised that I went from a Bronze Defender to a Dragon Defender in just a little over an hour. Oh, and when I bought my rapier, I still had like 100k tokens that I did not use, so I took this time to go to Daemonheim. I bought a Bone Crusher as well as Arcane Blast Necklace. No, Stream Necklace. And later in this episode, I go to DK's and I forget to bring it. So I went to TD's and I died. Because I tried going to TD's without food, and this is the first time I've actually been there in many months. But anyway, on to kills. I actually do miss this boss. Before Glade Cores, this was a pretty nice way to get charms. I actually do prefer doing TDs over charm hunting, but since they announced double summoning XP on bonus XP weekend, I'll have to gather charms for like a week, use them all. I should have a unicorn by the end of the next episode. I'm kind of aiming for a pack yak. And probably after that, I'm probably just gonna do TDs all the way, except for my weekly triple charms, if I remember to do them. Because it is kind of a hassle to get them. Now, besides Nex, this has got to be one of my most favorite bosses, because it actually requires skills to take 0 damage from it. Next was pretty much just safe spawning. QBD isn't really that fun since you just melee tank it. Glade Cores can be considered, but honestly, I've never really killed that much Glade Cores. When Glade Cores were released, I visited the area once, killed a few, and then went back to Nex. And, well, this was back when Nex was actually worth something. Nowadays, doing speed kills is probably one of the best money-making methods out there. But once the price of Onyx falls down below where it's not actually worth doing anymore, who knows what will be left. So I'm really kind of waiting for the next-like boss. When I say next-like, I mean one that drops high-level gear. But they're kind of getting closer and closer to level 90 equipment. So of course they're going to save that for something special. But I'm kind of wondering, what happens when they hit 99? Item that requires 99 defense to wear. Honestly, I don't expect any real boss to come out for quite a while. There's supposed to be a Calvin King coming out sometime in the next few months, but I don't expect that to be much of a hassle. Especially since nowadays it's like pretty common for people to be max combat. Aside from that, for TDs, I'm still not sure if I should use the Ring of Wealth or Tokuzo. Before the Ring of Wealth update, I always did like Tormented Demons without a Ring of Wealth, and average about like 1 item per 180 kills with about a drop log of 3,000. But a friend of mine who actually killed twice as much as me averaged only like 1 item per 300 kills. And since then, I've killed so many without Ring of Wealth, so I'm pretty much used to not using a Ring of Wealth, so I probably won't use it. So at the end of my trips, I always use the Tokuzo to bank at the fight kiln because it's probably the best place to get refreshed specs and your stats really quick. Just go in, spacebar through single chat, and right back out. It takes like, 10-20 seconds? And you can do it alone. You don't need anybody else there with you. So after another unsuccessful trip at Tormented Demons, updated King Black Dragon did come out, and so I went in my dark gear, piety, and super pots. Hilariously enough, there were people just like standing there auto attacking the KBD, even though they're like in 1 HP darking, and they pretty much died. Well, I died a few times too, but that was usually because I misclicked on somebody else's grave, and then I couldn't walk under, and that's kind of why I died. Oh, on a funny note, a friend of mine actually merged dark sets for this update and made about 470 mil from it. I didn't even think of like doing that myself, although even if I did think of merchanting that, I probably wouldn't because on my main I don't really merch. Like there's no need to make money on my main, so I don't really do it anymore. And on this account, my Nills to Bills account, I don't really do much merchanting. I mostly focus on PVM to make money. And like I'll do random grand exchange stuff here and there, but just not a lot of it. So while at the KBD, there were a few people who actually used their insta kill darts here. I guess it's like not everybody can't get to God War, so it's understandable. I also got some nice dark hits, some nice hits with just like piety and super pots. Although I didn't always hit, like, I only hit about 70% at the time. Also, I didn't actually get the plus 10% bonus because I didn't want to go through the hassle of getting tele blocked, and since I did die, like, every couple times from misclicking on somebody's grave, it just ended up being a hassle. So after the initial day of KBD, like, the KBD update being released, I had some extra cash, so I bought a DFS. I was thinking if I had to kill some dragons, I could just bring it along. But looking back, I actually don't kill that much dragons unless maybe I go do frost dragons, but I'm not doing that until I get turmoil. And then there's super anti-fire with by the time I make overloads, so I'm not even sure if it's ever going to be that useful. But on the second day, it was a lot less crowded at the KBD. First day, it was like, yeah, just about 9 people per world. Second day, it was about 5 people per world. But with 5 people, darking KBD doesn't work as well because you need them to stand around the KBD. And to have people you don't know stand where you want them is pretty hard to do. So I ended up just leaving. I didn't actually get anything because I heard that the drop rates were pretty rare. The thing I like about the KBD is that it's kind of like a low-key boss that isn't hard to solo, and well, also is the giant mole, and the loot isn't that half bad. But if you can access like better bosses, this is probably not the best choice to camp, unless you just want a quick, accessible, easy boss to fight. So last episode, or maybe a few episodes ago, I mentioned how I noticed that Abyss randoms were a lot more common. But now it seems they've kind of gone back on it. They're back on their normal schedule of just terrible, long, random events. And getting the Gravedigger makes me just kind of want to quit because even though you could quit out of it, like just choose to, no, I just want to leave, I can't figure it out, you'll get like randoms more frequent, but then you still have to, you gotta run to the coffin to say that, yes, I know what I'm doing, and then you have to run back and then say, no, I just want to quit. And I kind of wish that they would just put I just want to quit option right next to his name. I mean, right below his name, so we could just, quit straight out of it. Although some randoms are, it's okay to see him like Mordot the Red Dragon Teacher. He's fun to get because he actually gives a decent experience book. So when they announced Double XP Weekend, I went to the Grand Exchange. I bought some mahogany logs and turned them into plank with the Lunar Spellbook. Each log I bought, the mahogany logs I bought, sold for 700. It costed me 700 to buy them. Production cost was like 1300 GP-ish. And I sold them for like somewhere above 3k. So I was still making like over 1k per plank made. And this, I didn't really do this much. I did this for like maybe 40 minutes and made a total of about 2 mil from it. So it's pretty good, but I don't actually plan to do much skilling to make money. Like maybe I'll show it, but it's not going to be my main money making method. So after about like making 2k logs into planks, I got pretty bored because I don't really enjoy skilling. So I went back to TDs. Sadly, I didn't get anything, and this became like because it's about like 4 to 8 hours for a drop, depending completely on how fast you kill TDs. So since I didn't get anything, and it was about the time I just wanted to get an episode out, I went to Dagannoth Kings, which I love because the drop rates are pretty common enough that you could expect to get a drop from them. Now, I haven't actually bought a ranged weapon for myself yet. Like I have the rune crossbow, but that's not really a ranged weapon yet. I'm kind of considering to buying a royal crossbow because it's pretty decent if you're soloing monsters. Like if you're soloing like Arma, it's really good for Arma. It's also a lot cheaper in the bolts, but like I can't afford a Zarya bow, so I'm thinking of a royal crossbow. And since the release, it's dropped quite a lot. Like I forgot what the price was, but it's extremely cheap right now. So I'll probably just look into this if I want to buy a crossbow in the future. But I'm just not going to pay much attention to it while I'm at DKs because I kind of prefer just soloing Rex. Although I could like range the mage when I want, but it's just not as AFK as just soloing Rex. So by the end of the trip, I did end up getting 2 hatchets, which to my surprise are worth more than whips. Whips are like what 500k or something, and hatchets are just a bit below 800k. Although I mean they've both been around for quite a while. Now, quite a while ago, I did not actually realize this, but I actually had a elite clue in my bank for quite a while. It's probably been there for many months now. So I went to finish it, and I'm kind of disappointed in the Celtic Knot because when I read about the Celtic Knot, it seemed like a legitimate puzzle that you actually need to know something to solve it. But in practice, it turns out that you could just guess and check it. So I'm kind of disappointed in that, but I guess they can't make everything too hard. A while later, I did get a second elite clue. This time, I actually did get a kit from it, as well as a penguin staff, and I have no idea what a penguin staff is for. Like, who would buy it? Doesn't it? Well, to me, it doesn't look that good. But these items did eventually sell for mid. The kit took like a whole week to actually sell for mid, but I got like 500 to 600k from that. So for the first time in the series, I'm gonna go do Fist of Guthix. Now, there's a reason this is my first time because I pretty much really hate this minigame because the controls, your clicks are intentionally delayed. So like you click on it and then you basically like a tick or two later and then you move. So I just don't like it. So it comes down to just luck whether your stream of blue tiers stays or not. Also, the fact that it's at my current level, it's not really XP efficient. Like, maybe if it was gonna boost summoning for me, but I'm already like 80 something summoning, and my lowest skill is farming. So after the double hatchets from Dagannoth Kings, I thought about just leaving it there for that episode, but then I just realized, like, for this episode, I only made like 3.7 mil so far. Like, the 1.7 mil from Dagannoth Kings and the 2 mil from the bonus XP weekend. So I went back to Tormented Demons. I already done about 6 hours of TDs and not get anything. So I'm thinking like I'm bound to get a drop sooner or later, maybe in the next few hours. So my previous drop rate was 1 out of 180. And I already passed the 180 kill mark. Like I already logged, like for this series, I'm starting a new drop log. Like I'm just so I start from fresh so I know how many TDs I've killed throughout the series. So I already passed the 180 TDs, so at this point I'm really hoping for a drop up to the point where each time I kill TDs, I'm kind of looking for, like, I pretty much think I see red dragon claws on the floor. Until finally for the first item from TDs, I actually get my first dragon claws of the series. And hilariously enough, if, like, you can't tell by the supplies, but this was going to be my last kills. I was going to call it quits and work with the clips I had, and right then I get dragon claws. And yeah, I'm like, okay, maybe I could get another one. So I do another kill. But instead of getting Dragon Claws, I get my first effigy of the series. Now, I haven't opened this yet. It's kind of just sitting in my bank. I kind of want to open it normally, but then that kind of kills my drop rate. So I might just get assists to open that. So eventually I did sell the claws for mid. So for the previous like 6 hours or so, I was averaging maybe 2 mil per hour, which is a lot better than what I was averaging at Dagannoth Kings. But the only downside to Tormented Demons is that the trips where you don't actually get an item, you're pretty much breaking even or even losing money on supplies. And this is kind of the same for Glacors, but at least for both of these bosses, the charms are pretty decent. And, like, again, I'm probably just going to camp TDs or Glacors all the way to 99 summoning. So my goals for next episode is ROTM for Glade Cores. I'm not sure if I can do the quest by the next episode, but because like I have other quests I have to finish before I can actually do ROTM. And I want to get charm collecting done for double summoning XP on bonus XP weekend. So I'll just be charm collecting until then. After bonus XP weekend, I'll be doing maybe 10 hours or more of PVM to make enough money to make another episode. I would like to avoid episodes where I only make like 1 or 2 mil. That's pretty low. So it might be quite a while until then. I'll be using the Chaos Tunnel for Charm since it's a lot less crowded than the Whirlpool one where it's single combat, but then in the Chaos Tunnel it's multi-combat. So until then, thank you very much for watching and have a nice day. Also, I somehow sold a Dagannoth rope set from Wild Guthix Sleep for 1 mil, so good fight whoever paid for that.